Coming up tonight, Jasper and Southridge renew their gridiron rivalry for the 41st time, and there's a pretty high-profile wager on the game. And the Jasper Rotary Club awards a very special lady. These stories and more next on 18 News. Hello, I'm Mick Birch. Jasper and Southridge will kick it off here in a little less than a half hour in the 41st renewal of their annual rivalry. The game, of course, is big for the players, most of whom have known and played against each other, not only in football, but other sports since they were kids. The game is also the biggest game of the year for fans of both the Raiders and the Wildcats and the two mayors. Jasper's Terry Seitz and Honeyburg's Denny Spinner are the best of friends, and there's even a little bit of friendly trash talking going on between these two this week.
I was going to introduce something to him at our Mayor's Roundtable on Friday, and I think he's chickening out, Nick. He's something about going to visit his daughter in Atlanta. I said, Mayor, so I've got a case of locally owned Dad's root beer. Bet against him. He's doing some cupcakes from the bakery that just happens to be next to his building. So that's our private bet, and I'm going to go Cats.
I will be putting up a dozen cupcakes from Myers Sweet Treats, which is our bakery right next door to City Hall, and I'll be looking forward to having my root beer here in my office with my cupcakes later on next week.
Now the Wildcats hold a 34-6 advantage in the series. It dates back to 1954. Both teams entered tonight's game after season opening wins last Friday. Retired Tri-Cap Executive Director Jane Chappell was given the first ever Rotary Club of Jasper Athena International Award last night. Founded in 1982, Athena International is a nonprofit organization that seeks to support, develop, and honor women leaders. In front of a very large crowd gathered at the Honeyburg Events Center, this is the first time the Jasper Rotary Club has given an Athena Award. Chappell went to work for Tri-Cap Adolescent Services after returning home to Jasper from college back in 1974. Tri-Cap was formed to change the lives of struggling teens. Chappell says the organization also changed her life.
Well, you know, the advantage with Tri-Cap is every time there was a community need that needed to be worked on, not only did you work to develop yourself professionally, but you also developed yourself personally. So like when we had the teen suicides, my children were in high school. I learned how to handle my own kids. At the same time, I was working for programming for all kids. So I mean, I have just been lucky. I've been very blessed to be able to work there.
Now, during a 14-month stretch in the early 1990s, there were 5 suicide teens in Jasper. Then Chappell and Tri-Cap launched a suicide prevention helpline that now receives about 100 calls per year. Also, Tri-Cap launched Natural Helpers, a program of high school students who help identify and help other students who are overly anxious or stressed. Jane Chappell was among 12 women who were nominated for the first local Athena International Award. The other 11 are Jermaine Blessinger, Maureen Brown, Tanya Brothers-Bridge, Nancy Eckerly, Nancy Hobbig, Angie Pfaff, Joanne Rhodes, Angie Sander, Diane Schwenk, Vicki Tollett, and Shannon Wood. In other news this evening, Indiana State Police have released a description of the vehicle they say struck and killed a Boonville man Wednesday night along the westbound lanes of I-64 in northern Perry County. 64-year-old Kenneth Dare was struck and killed while he was changing a flat tire on the north side of the interstate's westbound lanes between mile markers 73 and 74. Police are looking for a small blue pickup truck or a passenger car. Police say the suspect vehicle should have damage to the right front passenger side. The incident happened at about 7:50 Wednesday night Central Time. If anyone knows anything about what happened, please call the Jasper State Police Post at 482-1441 or 1-800-742-7475. Now, Dare's older brother was with him at the time of the accident, but 69-year-old Michael Dare was not hurt. Jasper police have arrested a 14-year-old juvenile male on felony intimidation charges. Shortly after 7 o'clock last night, police were called to a home in the 3500 block of Villa Drive. That's on Jasper's far north side. Police say the juvenile attempted to stab members of his family with a knife. Police say the 14-year-old male fled into some nearby woods after police were called to the home. He was later taken into custody a short time later. He was questioned by police with a parent present. The juvenile male is now at the Southwest Indiana Regional Youth Village in Knox County, where he will remain detained until a juvenile court hearing. Police say no one was hurt in last night's incident. The Huntingburg City Council last night was asked to consider allowing the use of sport bow and arrows inside the city limits. The idea was brought before the council last night by Councilman Alex Blackgrove, who says he's been approached by several bow enthusiasts about allowing them to practice their archery skills at their homes inside the city limits with proper targets in place. Now, a group of 3 bow enthusiasts addressed the council last night. Aaron Bell is one of them. He says target practicing with a bow is not like allowing target practicing with a gun.
As I stated with the council, I believe that anyone who takes the time to learn how to do a bow, it's not like picking up a gun, putting it to your shoulder and pulling a trigger. There's a lot more to it. There's strengthening to do so. There's a lot of things you have to consider when you're shooting. It's harder to do. Anybody can just go out and look out the door and shoot. Bow takes a lot of practice. The maintenance, and it's not exactly cheap either. It's not something that somebody is just going to go and go spend money on. You can go buy a gun for $100. A good bow will cost 10 times that possibly. So it's not something that anybody's just going to jump into because there's it can be financially on the family.
Bell says the closest archery ranges to Huntingburg are in Ferdinand and Pike County. Councilwoman Linda Summers says she'd be concerned about allowing bow practice or bow target practice inside the city limits, even at a private residence. She says all it takes is one stray arrow that could hurt or even kill someone. Now, Councilman Steve McFerrin suggested the city consider opening a municipal bow target range for everyone to use. Now, Jasper does have a statute that allows bow target practice inside the city limits with certain restrictions. All right, coming up, another beautiful day here in Southwest Indiana. Is it going to stay this way this weekend? Well, that's next. And later in sports, Kurt talks with Southridge's Kelly Murphy about tonight's big showdown with Jasper.